Hello, everyone. My name is Lita Abella. Welcome to my new show, What's Your Story in the New Normal? I'm an entrepreneur, health and wellness consultant, public speaker, licensed private investigator, and former LAPD lieutenant. And in between all that, I went to law school and obtained my JD. I tell stories that inform, inspire, and influence others. Today, my guest is a very special person. Her name is Amber Davis, and she just happens to be my stepdaughter. As you know, when you're starting out in a new endeavor, you always reach out to family and friends first. So I'm so excited to have Amber on my show. And first, Amber, welcome. And first, I would like you to just give me a little bit of background information on yourself, your name, where you're from, where you live, and what you do.
Okay, well, hi Lita, and hello everybody watching. My name is Amber, and I am a domestic engineer and the mother to three beautiful human beings. I've been married for 22 years, almost 23 years, which sounds like a long time when I say it out loud. I live in Southern California. I grew up in Southern California, and when I was 18, I moved to Northern California, Sonoma County, and that's where I met my husband. 14 years ago, we moved down here, and this is where I've been ever since.
Wow. We've been married that long.
I know.
Yesterday.
Gone by fast.
Just yesterday that you had the kids.
Yeah.
They're all so big now. So my focus is COVID-19 because we're living it right now. We're going through something none of us have ever gone through before. So tell me what your life was like before COVID-19.
Well, it was pretty routine. I wake up, get my two younger kids ready for school, drop them off, come home, have a quiet cup of coffee, and then go outside and then go and see my other babies, which are my three dogs, two horses, and our pig. Spend time out there doing my chores, and then I would come back in, wake up my teen son, who is homeschooled and part of a really wonderful online program. Wake him up, get him started, and then laundry for 5 people, cleaning, getting grocery store, figuring out what I'm going to make for dinner. And then he would take on-site classes about 20 minutes away from our house. So once he was done what he was doing at home, I would drive him, drop him off at his class, do other errands outside of the house, pick him back up, come home, pick up my other two younger kids from school, and then take them to their extracurricular activities, horseback riding, Cub Scouts, MMA 4 days a week for one of my sons, and then homework. And then by that time, we were all exhausted.
Oh my gosh.
So life is busy. And in between there, once I picked up the kids from school, we would all sit down. I'd make dinner every night. We sit down at the dinner table. So it was just busy, nonstop, always going, one thing to another, no downtime.
Right.
And that was life before COVID-19. And I guess the last year and a half, though, things were even a little bit more different in the fact that I started trying to focus on myself and trying to figure out, how I could be of service to humanity, what that looked like, how that felt. And that led me down the path of Reiki and becoming a Reiki practitioner. So for the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been taking courses on the weekends, at night, anything I can do to be of service to the world. And I finally got my Reiki practitioner's license, and then the COVID-19 crept into our town. And so that's kind of what was happening before.
Wow, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
Just going over your routine as a mom, I'm sure that a lot of moms were doing and have been doing the same routines that you were doing, dealing with the kids, dealing with school, dealing with extracurricular activities and so forth.
Right.
And it's wonderful to hear how you were trying to focus on something to serve humanity. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And your Reiki practitioners, I didn't even know you needed to get a license,
Yeah.
or what the process was. Can you go just a little bit more into the process of how you do that? And what is it like for
So
somebody who's never heard that word?
yeah, there's different levels of Reiki. There's Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and then Reiki Master. So I am up to level 2 as a Reiki practitioner, level 2. And in a year from now, after working with clients for a year, I'm able to go and take the course to become a Reiki Master. And for those who don't know, Reiki is healing with energy. So basically, our bodies are all energy. Like if you go and you find an antenna, on a receiver or a stereo system, and you put your fingers on there, the reception comes in better. Have you ever done that? Because we're energy.
Right.
So Reiki is where you work on focusing that energy and sending that energy to heal someone's body or an animal, or it could be anything. And there's been so many articles that have come out, so much research that's been done to where hospitals all across the United States now are developing, or working with Reiki and having Reiki practitioners come in to work with patients. And there's been so much research showing that it's just miraculous, the difference in the patients and the outcome when they have somebody doing Reiki on them. So I felt like this was a way for me to give back to the world. And it's something that from the moment I took my first class, I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh,
So yeah, so
that's wonderful.
yeah.
So now that we're in this COVID-19 pandemic, we have to shelter in place or stay safer at home, depending on what county you live in. We're obviously in the state of California, and we're all in the stay-at-home order. What has changed in your life? What's your routine now?
So basically, like with everybody else, everything came to a stop. I didn't have one child home during the day. I had all 3. And I have to say that for me personally, in our situation, my younger 2, their school was unbelievable. They're a charter school, and they originally started as a homeschool program, which then became, on site 5 days a week. So school was canceled on a Friday, and by that Monday, they were up and running with an online platform for them. They had the curriculum figured out. My kids log into Zoom 3 to 4 times a day and meet with their teacher and their classmates to kind of go over different things, their schoolwork, and then just how they're doing in general. So I have to say that I'm really, really blessed with the school that we're a part of, and there's just so much support and love from the teachers and the staff. So that's made that transition easier, but I have to say the first week was rough. It was a change. It was pretty bad. But once we figured everything out and got into a routine, it's been much better, much better. I just feel like there's been so much, so many negative aspects about the virus that have been discussed, but for me, I feel like I see a different side. And the difference is that I see, with everybody being home together, I see us playing cards together. I see us, interacting all day long without all this distraction,
Right.
and it's just brought us so much closer as a family. And, now when we sit down to dinner, we're not rushing to go to the next thing. We're
Right.
sitting down, we're enjoying each other's company. And, we started this thing where we sit at the table and we talk about what we're grateful for. And that's so important, focusing on the good things that are coming about in our life, even in a situation like this.
Right. That's
And
wonderful. And
yeah,
I remember that's the way it was when I grew up as a kid. I mean, every Sunday we always had, family dinner together. And mostly every day we did, but Sunday was really, really important in our family. And I know you're very, just like me, into health and wellness. And I remember you talking about growing a garden. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
yes. So we're fortunate in the fact that we do live on a little bit of land. So we have been able to grow a garden. We have, almost 20 fruit trees growing. And then we have just plowed the land and planted a bunch of seeds. We're going to have corn, just tomatoes, squash, beans, basil, everything. And I feel like that in itself has brought us together as a family. And it's so important for children to understand and to know where their food comes from. It doesn't just come from the grocery store. This is how it starts. You work the land and then you plant the seeds and you watch it grow and you have a bountiful harvest that you can then bring into the house and prepare beautiful meals together as a family. And that is what is so important and what has been missing, I feel like, in our society. That we don't have. We've lost this part of ourselves, and we need to get back to that. It's
How were you able to start this garden, which sounds like, I mean, there's so many things you mentioned, and like, how did you even learn to, because
just
I don't cook, I don't do a lot of things, so especially dealing with like my hands and getting dirty. So how did you learn to plant and do all the things you do?
I've read a lot of books and watched a lot of YouTube videos, and just getting in there and working the land. I've read a lot about composting and how beneficial it is for the soil, and just very hands-on. When we were working on our garden this weekend. My youngest son was in there in the dirt, and he's pulling out worms, huge worms, and he's like, look at these worms, and he's so excited. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, you know what, this is how it is supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. We've gotten so off track, and we need to get back to family, and we need to get back to providing food for ourselves, be self-sustaining. And I feel like a lot of people that I know that have families are feeling the same. We need to get out there, we need to grow our own food. And not only that, but with the virus, a lot of this stuff, they're in the news, they talk about how the production chains are slowed down or even stopped, and that this is going to affect what we have in the stores. And not only that, but when you go and get something from the garden, from the store, you don't really know what type of soil it was grown in, what nutrition is in it. And growing your own garden, your own fruits, your own vegetables, you put that love into them, what's in the soil, and anybody can do it. You can grow a garden in a sunny window in your house, on your patio, on your back porch. You can have an arrow garden. The possibilities are endless.
Well, that's very interesting. Now, how long have you had the garden, and has it produced any fruits or vegetables or beans or corn or whatever it is that you're growing?
So we've had we've done some stuff here and there, little bits of stuff, but since everything with the virus has happened, we've gone full force and planted as much as we possibly can in the space that we have. So things are still growing, other than like the herbs, which I can pick now. The other stuff is more, stuff that will be ready more in the summertime.
Okay.
The trees, our apple trees have apples, but they're very, they're round little tiny apples right now. And So there's nothing really ready to harvest at this point. It's just, unless it's the herbs. But yeah, but it's going to be a bountiful summer. And we're excited.
That's awesome. And especially
Yeah,
getting the kids involved and them learning how to do this and keeping them active and
right,
busy. 'Cause not only are they learning something that's useful for them,
right,
but they're also staying active, which a lot of kids now in school, a lot of them don't even have physical education anymore.
right.
So the fact that many people are stuck inside the house, this is a great activity that they can do outside of the house and, run around the yard and
Yes.
move and, be in the sun. You need that vitamin D from the
Oh,
sun.
so important.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's so many benefits of doing
Yes.
this. That's wonderful. And you're lucky that you do have a large yard that you can do this. But like you said, it can be done anywhere. So
Right.
once you get yours going, you're gonna have to come over to show me how I could do it because I
Absolutely, absolutely. And with all this going on, it's given me time to think. And as I was working in the garden this week, and I was thinking, this is something that everybody can implement. A lot of us live in subdivisions or condos or different things, but what we don't realize is that all of us could plant a garden in our house in a window or on the balcony or the porch. And I was thinking, wouldn't this be wonderful if people really understood how important this was and is, and imagine all the trees that surround, the subdivisions that are common areas. What if those trees were integrated with fruit trees that give hundreds of pounds of fruit throughout the season? Citrus trees, and everybody can just, who lives in the community, can go and pick what they need, and if people are growing stuff in their homes, people can get together and they can trade with each other.
Mhm.
It goes back to being self-sustaining and bringing the community together in unity, which is so important, because I feel like we've gotten so off track. Everybody is just separate, and we need to come back together. And I feel like the virus, in a way, has brought the whole world together. It's not like the virus is happening to someone in some far off place. It's the whole world is involved. And with that being said, that unifies all of us, the whole planet. And I feel like it needs to come back to our communities and to our homes, where we have this sense of family, the sense of community. And I was doing research on recently, maybe like 6 or 7 months ago, on blue zones, and how these people live to be in their hundreds. And they're like, why are these certain communities living you know, these long lives? What's the secret here? And when I did research on it and I watched videos of people living there and read articles, basically what it comes down to is that these people are planting their own gardens. And not only that, but even when they get older, they are still integrated within society. They're not put in a home and left there by themselves. They are integrated into the community, and they're active. They do a lot of walking within their community, and they're staying active, and they're a part of everything. And I think that
Blue zones?
they're called blue zones. So there are
I've never
certain
heard of
areas in the world, like um, Italy has a blue zone, and there's just different areas around the world, and they're called blue zones because they have so many people, pockets of people that are well into their hundreds. And there was a lot of research done on it, like what's the secret here? And when they went and interviewed these people, it came down to them growing their own gardens, spending large amounts of time with family and with their community, doing all sorts of things. So apparently there's something to it.
That's amazing. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah.
But, that's something very interesting to look into. I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up. So I know we have limited time here, and do you have any last minute thoughts? Anything else that you want to let us know about that you're involved in?
No, just that, you know, even though there's so much, sadness associated with what's happening right now, there's a lot of good coming about with it. A lot of family coming together, a lot of outside the box thinking, and it's put a hold on our society to where we can't be distracted with a million other things. All we have right now is ourselves, and it's bringing us back to here, and being in touch with who we are as people, as human beings, and getting recentered, heart centered. And that is so important. It's really important right now because we've been so far from that. And it's time to come back.
That was said beautifully, Amber. You're
Oh.
such a loving and thank you so much for taking out time in your really, really busy schedule with your kids and all the things that you do. I really appreciate you being a guest on my show today. So I want to thank my guest, Amber Davis, and please make sure that you look for our next episode that will be coming out next week. And if you are somebody who has a story that can inform, inspire, and influence others, please contact me at the link below. I would love to hear your story. So until then, I hope everyone stays safe, stay home, stay positive, and stay healthy.
Much
Thank
love.
you very much. Love to you too.
Bye.